Hi guys, welcome to episode 31 of the Yinzhers podcast. I'm Samantha James, here with our co-host Jordan DeFigio. Morgan couldn't be here. She's being held hostage by her work.
Stupid work.
So rude. So rude.
That's terrible. Well, we miss you, Morgan. We'll see you next week.
We do miss her. We do miss her. We wish she was here because we know she would have some great things to say about the few things we're going to touch on this week. We decided not to torture you guys and relive all of Thursday night football's game. Also, another reason why I hate Thursday night football, because it feels like it was a lifetime ago now.
Yeah.
We're going to jump straight into why this team causes us pain every week.
I don't get it. And I was just telling Sam before we started recording, I was at an event at a brewery in the city. So I watched maybe the first 5-10 minutes of the game and then was like, no, I'm calling it. I want to enjoy this evening, and I will not if I'm watching the Steelers. And I came home and I went to bed early and it was great. But it's the same thing every week. And the fact that they just don't I just feel like a broken record. I understand that they have some pretty key injuries on defense specifically. And their offensive line is spotty at best, ass trash at worst. But oh my God, like I don't even know. Like the shit that Chase Claypool pulled was just next level dumb.
So first he had the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving on. Finally, the Steelers are gaining momentum, which, I mean, just 29-0 at one point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching it at a bar. Tons of people had already left the bar. Steelers Twitter was like, you know what? I'm turning the game off. This is a repeat of, last week.
Mm-hmm.
They're just over it. It's like, he does that. You made a catch. I don't know what you thought that was. Like, Trey Turner's running over, trying to get the ball out of his hand to get back as fast as he can. And Chase Claypool's like, you know what? I'm just going to celebrate. I'm going to burn 10 seconds. I think it was even more than 10 seconds off the clock to celebrate a fucking catch.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking in that moment? And then in hindsight, the Freiermuth catch and drop, or whatever you want to call that, in the end zone at the very end.
Yeah.
You could tell like instantly that Pat was visibly upset about that. And it's like, you were hit by 3 men at the same time. I understand. Yeah, I catch the ball. But in my opinion, Pat did his job to the best of his ability in that circumstance. And had Claypool not wasted 10 seconds, we would have had another shot.
Yeah.
To throw a touchdown.
Yep.
And so
when
that
God.
Yeah.
God.
And then the comments at the end of the game, like not even accepting any responsibility for it. I just, that blows my mind.
I don't understand what the disconnect is with him, because it's always kind of been there for him.
Right.
And it seems like it's only gotten more prominent over the last, he's only been in the league for, this is his second season. So what?
It's not earned. Like he hasn't had a great season. I saw, it's funny because I wanted to respond to this person on Twitter and be like, you clearly don't watch this game, but somebody arguing that they would take Claypool over Juju for the specific reason that they feel Chase Claypool plays harder than Juju. And I'm like, what game are you watching? Because Juju is one of the most physical receivers that we've ever had. Why he's injured, probably. And Juju TikToks and Juju does this or that, but Juju has never done anything on the field selfishly like that.
Yeah.
That detrimented the team. And so it's just
I just feel like The wires aren't ever connecting anymore when it comes to the Steelers in my mind. I just can't. I don't know. But the only thing that you could potentially compare in terms of circumstance and decision making was Juju dancing on the logo.
Right.
But that still, it's not, you really can't compare them because that was before the game. Right. Maybe it set a tone for the rest of the game. That's impossible to say. It's all subjective.
Right.
It depends on how you look at it. But I mean, look at this team right now. Do you really think that they are, for the past 3 years, have been threatening to anybody? I don't think anybody's afraid of the team. They're not intimidated by the Steelers. It is what it is. But Juju would never, ever do something like that within the confines of the 60 minutes that they play that would hurt the team.
Here's the other thing.
Like he did.
Juju also very much well knows how to speak to the media and what to say and what not to say, whereas Claypool has no idea. He's just like, you know what, I'm not going to accept any responsibility and just blow it off, and it's not a big deal, and it is what it is. And so the other thing that bothered me, which I wish I had the specific quote of it pulled up, but I do remember somebody asking Mike Tomlin, you know, are there coaches' jobs on the line here? And his rebuttal was something along the lines of, you know, the coaches aren't missing tackles, the coaches aren't doing this, the coaches aren't doing that. And I'm just like, the coaches aren't doing their fucking job either. How are you watching? We were down 29-0. We should never be down 29-0.
And especially, okay, so sure, defense, whatever. We've talked about it all the time, yada, yada, yada. Stephon Tuitt's not in. Tyson Alualu's not in. TJ Watt has been in and out. Your 39-year-old quarterback put up 28 points in the span of what? Less than 30 minutes? What was it? Like 20 minutes that he worked with?
Like small amount of time.
If your offense, with the glaring weaknesses that it has, is able to do that, obviously coaching is the biggest problem that this team has. I would venture to say that. Maybe people will disagree with me. I don't know. But the fact that when Ben takes control of the offense and just runs with it, it looks like a completely different team. How is that not on coaching? And you know what? If you have players pulling doing what Chase Claypool did, not really even trying, like we're seeing Devin Bush right now, that is, it falls squarely on the shoulders of the coaching staff.
It does. I know we've touched on this before, and it's something that Steelers Twitter is highly emotional about. Highly divided about. Their rebuttal is always Tomlin has never had a losing season. That is always what it comes down to. And while that may be true, you can't look at the team the past few years and tell me that there's not an issue. Clearly an issue. I don't know. I don't see Tomlin being fired by any means. I actually think that Tomlin will leave on his own terms. I think that he will be here until he retires.
Yeah.
That's the Rooney way. He's the third coach that they've had in the Steelers' history. It is what it is. But do I expect real changes to come until then? Probably not.
No. I think this team is pretty gridlocked into what we're seeing, at least the pattern, maybe not the same personnel, but the same pattern. And the issue when it comes to debating coaching for the Steelers is that it is always one extreme or the other. There's really no middle ground for intelligent discourse on the topic, because people are either like, who would you rather have besides Mike Tomlin? Who are you going to pick? Who's going to do a better job? And then people on the other side are like, get rid of him. He sucks. He's the worst coach. He hasn't done anything. I think that there's somewhere in there where you can say, I don't know who I would pick over Mike Tomlin. Honestly, like I like the guy. I really do think that he has qualities of a great coach. Oh my God, this is what this team is doing to me. Great coach. However, I do think, I've been saying this for years now, it feels like. Maybe it's only 2 weeks. Who knows? Time is nothing when it comes to this team. But he needs to feel the heat a little bit. Yeah. If he actually believed that maybe his job wasn't secure and it was dependent upon not just performance but results, right? I feel like we would see a little bit of a different shakeup going on here. But no, you're right. He's going to keep his job here until he retires, and he has his wackadoo, like, whatever he does with his coordinators, his method. It makes no sense, but it's just the same old every single year, whether it's Randy Figner or Matt Canada. It's
because you can't tell the difference. You literally can't tell the difference. It's like we were so excited to get a new offensive coordinator. Yeah. I don't even think anyone was like questioning it, because we were just so excited to have somebody new, because
Randy.
Right. We were just like, anybody but Randy. Like, nobody could be worse than Randy.
Just kidding. Somebody can be equally as terrible.
It's literally the same playbook. So just kidding. And the defense, just, again, injuries, whatever. Okay, let's dive into Devin Bush. This has been a very
interesting,
volatile subject, I would say. It brings out a lot of emotions. So we have talked about Devin Bush several times on this podcast recently. Yeah. One of the main things that we actually did talk about was that we thought it was a mental block that was holding Devin Bush back. He essentially came out and said that today. Couldn't elaborate on it a lot, because apparently his Zoom meeting with Brooke Pryor was 6 minutes or so. He did say he believes he is physically performing as he was before, even if the stats don't show that, but that nobody on the Steelers team is performing or is playing to their potential.
I think TJ Watt would like a word. Also, Cam Hayward.
Cam Hayward would like a word. I think Alex Highsmith has had a great season. In that game alone, Witherspoon had 2 interceptions, which, these are players that really haven't – Witherspoon hasn't even really had the opportunity to be on the field. And the first real opportunity that he had, 2 interceptions. Yeah, Ben. There's several players that we could name.
Najee? Yeah.
I mean, yes, there's several players that we could list that absolutely have been playing to their potential. Mika is literally doing 3 jobs.
Yeah.
So that was a little hard to read. I don't know what to think.
It's another disconnect. And again,
do you guys need a team building exercise?
Yeah.
Like, I'm confused. I don't know, do the veteran players in that room need to whoop your ass? I'm confused what is happening here, because none of it's making sense anymore.
Not everybody, that is extreme. But these younger players, with the exception of Najee, in the spotlight, it just feels like these big name players in their first 2-3 seasons are just... they are not filtering what comes out of their mouths, and they just spew. And it's it's difficult to pinpoint what the issue is because we don't see inside the locker room, and we're very limited in terms of what we know about what goes on at practice. But oh my goodness, when you again see a pattern of things like this, when players are saying things to media members that make you go, what?
Yeah.
There's a deeper issue that's going on, and that again for me goes back to coaching.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
Right. Like, maybe your players need to actually do some mental exercises, because there's also no way that your veteran players on that team, or the players that have been playing up to their potential and more, are going to see that and be like, not think a certain way about it.
Yeah. That's not going to build anything.
There's going to be no rapport there at all. Like, I don't know. And it just makes you wonder, like, what is going through your head when you said that? Trying to get
nothing.
Like the focus off of you. Like, we're very aware of what players are not living up to those potentials, but is it everybody on the team? Absolutely not.
No, that is such a dumb thing to say, especially when you're playing alongside TJ Watt, who is in the running for Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
I don't get it. I really don't get it.
That one I really don't know how to.
Nope. And when you look like, okay, you can be having a solid season and have like modest stats. Like, I feel like that's what's going on with Minka right now. Like he, with the exception of those few weird missed tackles, he's been having a decent season because he's just so good at what he does that he just, for the most part, you don't notice him.
Right.
But we see week in and week out what Devin Bush is, and more importantly, is not doing. And it goes so far beyond just not having stats to back up your performance. It's just not really performing at all. It's like he's actively trying to avoid the football. And
kind of how it seems at this point.
Yeah. There are players who know how to interact with the media and things to say and things not to say, and there are players who just don't. And you can give honesty without full disclosure. Like, you can have that sort of bedside manner or whatever. Be like, yeah, my mental game is not there, but I want to get better. I want to catch up. Why in the world he went, it feels like Michael Scott when he's like trying to promise the investors at this shareholder meeting that they are going to figure out how to avoid bankruptcy. And he just keeps going and going and going and going. And it's like, can you please shut up? You were fine 5 seconds in, but that 6th second really got you. Please shut up now.
That's where it ended.
Yeah. I don't know. I just am so like, it's a game. It's a sport. It's a team that is supposed to provide entertainment. And the fact that they're so exhausting is even more exhausting, because it's like, I don't want to care about this as much as I do, but I do.
I actually didn't even care about football all weekend. Like, again, it just ruined. I was so emotionally drained from watching. First of all, I wasn't even recovered from Sunday's game to play Thursday night football. I don't even know like what day or time or week it is at this point, because my emotions have been just so up and down. Nope.
Dumb team.
Done with it. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the unfortunate thing is that the AFC North is such a cluster
Freaking dumpster fire.
Unfortunately, the Steelers might still make the playoffs, which means that they'll keep living in this delusion that they're not a bad football team from top to bottom.
The AFC North is operating right now. Oh my gosh. Like,
fall.
You know what?
Fall from grace.
Just put all of us together and we could have maybe one complete team, because just throw the whole AFC North away at this point. None of us deserve to go anywhere. It's just horrible.
Yeah, the NFL doesn't need this kind of garbage. It's just so bad.
It's so bad.
It's so inconsistent. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to any game at any point yesterday. I was just
I just know every team that we needed to lose did lose. So,
of course.
Which again, that's why we're still in it, because everything's freaking unpredictable. Ravens should have beat the Browns, did not. The cycle continues. It's anyone's division at this point.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm emotionally drained. I don't know if I can make it through the rest of the season at this point.
I'm wondering how we're gonna do it.
Oh, go ahead.
I just keep going through the process in my brain. We have all these games left. We might make the playoffs. Even if we did get a high draft pick, does that mean that they would address all the problems that the team has? Probably not, because part of the issues are our coordinators and our head coach's perception of our coordinators.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going round and round and round. And it really does feel like a cycle we're going to be stuck in. Yeah, a circus cycle that is just going to continue until Tomlin's gone. And I feel like with how angry people love to get, it does need to be said, like, the Steelers are one of the most well-respected franchises in the NFL. They're like, being a Steelers fan has been, for the most part, really awesome.
Right.
But I think that, much like Browns fans always like to remind us, the 6 rings don't matter anymore because it's not what's happening right now. So if you apply that same logic now and looking into the future, it is kind of bleak. And that
it is.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
It is. It's probably not going to be a fun few years for us. Also because the Steelers usually are never in a great drafting position. We had a winning season with Duck. Yeah. With a Duck. So
they'll find a way.
They always find a way. Somehow they always do find a way. This year is going to be the hardest way. It looks like, but they'll find a way. We'll see. All right, we're going to move on to something positive because Jordan and I can't take any more of this Steelers talk. Please make it stop. We went off this ride.
Yeah.
As you guys know, we are doing a jersey gift away.
Woo!
We started this, I don't know, kind of developed out of nowhere. We wanted to gift a jersey to maybe a family or a child that couldn't afford one or that was deserving of one. And instead, we got way more people wanting to support that cause than we were getting nominations. So instead, we are now taking donations for a jersey gift away, and we're going to be taking those jerseys to University of Pittsburgh Children's Hospital, right? Is that what we're taking? Yeah. So I think we've raised over $2,000 the last I checked.
Oh my God, amazing.
It's mind blowing. Like, it's crazy. I think our goal was 3,000. I don't know where we're at now. Morgan has the Venmo and the PayPal links, but if you want to donate, you can Venmo Yinzhers, Yinzhers. And then there's a link on our Twitter for it as well. I'm sure we're going to document this somehow. I doubt that we'll be able to live stream it, we'll see. I don't really know what that protocol will be, but we definitely plan on sharing it with you guys. It's going to be an amazing experience. We're so excited to do this. With all the bad things that the Steelers have brought us this season, we're hoping that this is something that we can give back to the community that brings a smile to everyone's face. So we're super, super excited about it.
It's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to that. I
can't wait. Literally, I'm going to cry. I don't cry, and I know I'm going to cry, like giving children jerseys. And
oh my gosh, it's going to be the best.
My heart. Yes.
Yep. Oh. Woo.
All right. Well, that's it. That is it. So let's wrap this thing up. It's been real, as always. Thank you for kicking it with us, Steeler Nation.
Be sure to follow us if you aren't already on Twitter at Yinzhers and on Instagram at Yinzhers Official.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen on YouTube so you can kick it with us every week for another episode of Yinzhers.